Last time on Shadows, we took a ride. We took an Uber. And
It was an epic Uber, though.
and had a
It was an Uber of the future.
1 out of 5 stars. Not a great ride.
Scott, can you talk for like half a second?
Yes, I can. Do you need me to talk longer? Was that not long
Yeah,
enough?
you're good. Okay, Game Cat,
Yeah.
talk to us, serenade us.
Oh, serenade you with what? What would you like to serenade you with?
Okay, you're good. I was just checking the audio.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
all of the NDI
What do
sources,
you
I'll have to
mean?
correct this, but all the NDI sources have their own audio that come in, and you guys are already coming through my desktop, so it'll duplicate you. But I
Well, there we
fixed it.
go. Inky
We
says
fixed
we're
it.
good.
We're
This
so
is
good
Inky's
now.
private entertainment for Thursday evening. Used to put on puppet shows for my kid, and now I just do streams.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. A little bit of action-y, music-y stuff.
Action movie.
So
Last time, an engine failed.
yeah, we had some moments. I was confused about who was in what freaking car more than once. But yes, there were some problems. So anybody who wished to recap, do so now.
Let's see here. We were on our way to a new kind of safe house, right?
An average encounter.
Damn it, Bill!
We're gonna keep the action going, man. We've only got I don't have my watch on me, but we've got less than an hour, or less than an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 14 tops. We're gonna have to make this shit count, apparently.
Yeah. We were on our way to a safe house, weren't we? Like south, further.
You were in the
south.
Daedalus belt. That's where you were going.
The Daedalus
The
Bell.
Daedalus Belt, yeah. We got to meet our new bodyguard,
Yes,
which is Game Cat.
It's me.
Tony Mahoney.
Yep,
Yeah,
Tony.
Baloney. Tony Baloney.
Tony Mahoney.
Who's a 8 foot tall.
Dude, he's a big boy.
9'10".
Well, now, okay.
Holy
By,
God.
by
Read
next
my
episode,
paper.
you'll be 11 foot easily.
No, really. I'll show you on my paper. You probably can't read my handwriting because it's so nice. But there's a 9 and a 10.
Your background will mute it right out.
Oh,
see it.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
By the way,
It's what.
here's some beautiful papers.
We are
Look at that.
just Game Cat. What you didn't see though is that for the second you held up the paper, you just vanished. It was just we saw your background
Oh, did that?
because Skype was doing the thing where it was just check this out.
Oh, there must be background in the foreground now.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
believe you.
while we were on our way to the Mason-Dixon line, one of our cars its engine failed and we almost crashed. People took damage, and it was on its way. And the last thing I wrote was the next 45 minutes goes on without issue. So I guess we just landed, or we're
Just awkward silence.
Right. So the vehicle that had been affected was the one with Barnaby and Danny. I don't remember. Malcolm
And
was mistakenly
Hugh?
thought to be in there. It was Hugh that was in there with him. Yes. So
Yeah, I took damage.
Because Danny
Yeah.
was trying to, absorb some investigatorial knowledge from...
Well, you took damage, and then of course you're like, I've got 300 something IP. I think I'm going to use that now. And you were like Scott Pilgrim and just leveled up right there in game.
Yeah. Let me pull that up.
There's
I
a
love
leak
World
from
War
the
II.
reactor core of the vehicle, and it just caused you to level up dramatically.
What?
Yeah.
A nice leak. Can I get some? Can I help on those leaks?
Okay. Well, in spite of the fact that somebody apparently was trying to sabotage your ride, and everybody else kind of had to watch somewhat helplessly from where they were, because I believe Tiberius, Tony, and Malcolm were in one vehicle, and so they were trying to figure that out. And then we had Vix, Brenner, and
NPCs.
Silva in the last one. Yeah. So I got it mostly correct this time around. It only took me a
I
week to
think so.
recalibrate my brain.
If anyone wants to go back through and watch the previous episode, and then watch this one, and then comment what we got right or wrong, please feel free.
Yeah, fact check us. Right. So, the rest of the actual rest of the trip, because you were about 40 something minutes away from your destination, you take a lower altitude, so in case something like that happens, it slows you down, so the 45 minutes becomes an hour and 30. But if somebody decides to try and take you out, the chances of fatal injury are going to be reduced by a lot. Hour and 30 minutes passes, you manage to come down to where you're supposed to be. Tiberius immediately heads over to who is driving the other vehicle. They have a very quiet, terse conversation while everybody's kind of filtering out. Now, the Daedalus belt, if you all remember me saying as such, is quite a bit more industrialized than the rest of Night City for the most part. Buildings aren't as tall. You don't have these major zones that are mega blocks and super saturated with high skyline buildings and things like that. A lot of this is actually a lot flatter. It's, from where you guys are right now, you're sitting at anywhere between 3 to 6 story buildings on average across the board in about all directions. But you still have Night City spaced out and beyond that and utterly visible from everywhere you are. So you're closer, you're going to be east of Daedalus Tower, which is kind of epicenter to the center of a sort. Because all the major highways, freeways, and railways all intersect through the Daedalus Tower sector in the Daedalus Belt. That's where all that main stuff comes in.
That's our Grand Central.
More or less, yeah. I mean, it's just a massive, massive traffic intersection. And most of it's ground-oriented or rail-oriented. So you have a lot of different things that are going through there all the time. It's probably the highest rating of security as well, as far as just public space, just because there's just so much stuff going on. If anybody's going to be moving on ground or above it, that you're going to probably have some kind of NCS drone kind of picking people up and trying to see if there's any incidents attached to what they are, who they are, all of that. But from where you guys are, east of that, you're closer to the ocean. There is this building that is rather unremarkable at its exterior. It sits at a normal size amongst other buildings of the same kind. It almost looks like you're inside of a building or inside of a business complex. And you're landing on the rooftop with these cars. So you're kind of looking around at everything else. I believe it was, it's going to be in the evening because of, vampire amongst the group there. Plus, our dear friend Tony here didn't show up until quite a while into the evening anyway, and he was woken up in the midst of his sleep. So, at this point, Tiberius kind of nods his head whenever he comes out of the vehicle's window. He just looks to everybody else, looks to Danny in particular, and he just kind of looks him up and down. It's like, are you injured? You hurt?
Yeah, Danny's just going to run over and give his dad a big hug, like as soon as they are safe to disembark.
Yeah. Yeah, so the way that the mag drives work is that whenever they're powered down, they can actually land. They basically work like struts. So they land on themselves.
Oh, cool.
So you just go kunk like that, and they set like that, making the vehicle completely stable. There is a suspension in there, too, so if they land on uneven ground, the drives will, push into the wells a little bit or do whatever they have to do to keep the vehicle level.
Nice.
But, he just gives you a hard embrace. He's kind of... something about your father has gotten to a point where he's a lot harder about things than he has been in the past. He's taking a lot more firm action, and he's not really kind of blithely passing it by. Vix is just kind of examining things from the background, not really sure what to think about all of this, including the fact that you still have this gigantor type human being with you who defies all physics with his height and size.
Gets out of the vehicle and the maglev lifts back up.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, the suspension does break off just a little since he's no longer causing extra weight. He's just Tiberius is shaking his head. I don't know what's going on, but that's the second attack we've had to suffer at this point, and they're moving awfully quickly. And he's looking over at Barnaby. Barnaby's just like, of course, Hugh at this point, when he finally catches that, he's like, well, not all of you got out of there safe and free, it looks like. You all right, Hugh?
I've been better.
He just nods his head. I imagine. We have some of the medical supplies and fast kits here, so if you need that, I'd recommend you take it. Let's go get
yeah.
inside so that we don't wait out here for too terribly long.
You have like a bloody nose? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, and you wouldn't let Danny heal it?
No. I didn't
Yeah,
want
you were like, I'm good, I'm good.
What does Malcolm do with the sight of blood? Is it triggering?
He's in the background doing the evil anime fingers, licking his lips.
It's when it's when he's committing violence. Like when he just sees blood, I guess he's okay. But like when he's in the act of committing violence and there's blood, he has to do will checks. Like outright has to do will checks. I don't know. Do we need to change that? Does he look hungrily at?
I mean, do you have the bloodlust disadvantage?
No.
Okay, then no. You're used to dealing with humanity under normal circumstances. Minor injuries are a common occurrence amongst all humanity. Period. You never know when something like that's going to happen. So, it's when you're in the thralls of fighting or combat when things get really heated. You don't really suffer from an adrenaline rush, but let's be honest, that is your natural state. When you're slaying the shit out of things, that is 100% hunters taking over, the beast is in play. And that's what makes it difficult.
Okay, that makes sense.
You've got your 9 melee attacks in a row, and you're just weaving a tapestry of violence.
Look! It's only 4. It's only 4.
It's only 4 for now.
God, yeah. So we're gonna just put you and Tony up front, and then, I'll just like stay in the back and like lob support.
Should I
Renegade.
roll for some first aid? You're
going to be getting off this rooftop as you guys are trying to filter in that way. I have to...
So are we at our destination, or are we...
You've
just,
landed on
like,
the
touched
rooftop
down
of the
and
new
then-
safe house that you were supposed to be
perfect.
secured at.
Okay. So, once everyone's disembarked, Danny's gonna go over to Brenner and just ask him if there's a way to like make it unfindable, or put some wards or something on the building, and like if he can help with that or anything. I'm just making this stuff up, but is there a way that they can't just find us immediately at this new place?
Of course, when you guys are going down there, the inside upper floor, first of all, is a hyper secure sort of. So you don't know what's on the first floor yet, but on the on the third floor, because it's a 3-story building. On the third floor, you have all of your individual rooms that have been set up in such a way. It's more bare bones than probably what you've been used to in the past, but this has bare necessities, no real decorations or anything like that, but it's not uncomfortable. You have that tight weave carpet, good lighting. It looks like the kind of safe house you might expect whenever you're dealing with, someone who has the wealth enough to actually have an entire building as a safe house and have that paid underneath the table. So the third floor is very much, everything you might need from, latrines to the kitchen and all the stuff that you might need, including the rooms in which everyone can stay.
Battery.
I don't have a low battery. You have a low battery. There we go. But the second floor, once you guys go through and start to inspect it, is actually more like storage. It kind of looks like a second floor, kind of almost like maintenance, like you'd stash a whole bunch of raw materials and goods and things like that. It looks abandoned. It's not been dusted. Nothing appears to be in good condition. It's all part of some other element. And it's mostly just like auto parts and things along those lines that fit with your father's business. The first floor is pretty much barren. It looks like a parking garage with massive support struts and nothing else. There are access points, and there is a single elevator that goes up and down from the first to third floors. It's a freight elevator, since this place is actually more fit for moving supplies, goods, and that kind of thing out. So it does have normal activity going throughout. From the third floor, there is a low grade, but not utterly underwhelming command center that allows you guys to kind of monitor the outside area, similar to what you had in your last little area there. It's kind of a wonder to you, Danny, that he has not one, but 2 safe houses of this caliber. And it makes you wonder probably a little bit why Dad has these things in the first place and why he's got them just sort of ready at hand.
And how many secret families does Dad have? That's
right.
thing that he's not thinking about, but he's definitely thinking about.
Yeah. So, all things considered, it's, the place is very functional. It does what it's supposed to do. It's less, it's actually got more room with the same level of, accommodation that's going to be required for this. I will have to get water here in a minute. When you ask Brenner, he gets Silva situated, who still looks fairly kind of weak and out of it.
She's
still.
kind of out of it.
Yeah, and Vix and him have been apparently carrying on with conversations to a small degree. Vix is just kind of like, yeah. When she starts moving off, he starts going to make, find something to do in the kitchen where he starts to work food and things like that. Looks like he's been self-promoted to house cook of a sort. But he's been on his own so much, and he's been learning about all kinds of things, vehicles and cooking and so on. So he's just kind of independent and kind of hanging around the group as sort of a satellite NPC.
He's like Barnaby 2.0. He's in training.
And then Malcolm kind of just puts like 2 blood packs.
He's Kato. We could make him Kato.
So Malcolm just puts 2 blood packs in the fridge. I
Yeah.
mean, he just assumes nobody's going to touch it.
Well, nobody would. Why would they need that?
Malcolm's blood do not touch.
As
Big
we're walking
Sharpie.
in,
Big
he's gonna
Sharpie
turn-
says-
My
Malcolm.
sandwich! Yeah.
He's gonna turn to Tony before he gets himself fixed up and is like, "You ever see someplace this nice?" Okay.
He's talking to you, Tony.
Tony, you're muted. You're muted though. Remember?
Oh yeah. What'd you say?
That would have sounded like something Tony would have said. What'd you say? Without
We'll go
missing a
with that.
beat, he was just like, I said, have you ever seen a place this nice? This is great.
Oh yeah, I see him all the time. Lots of clients.
Wow. Do
He's
I
the
roll
best.
medtech to fix my face?
No, I mean, it's pretty much injection ready. So you can just take a hit of
Right.
nanosurgeons. So what that does is you just find an open area. It's a very short syringe. It just needs penetration of skin. You just give it a compression, like an EpiPen. You just feel a minor prick sensation that's on the fleshy part of wherever you put it. Generally, you don't want to put it where there's a bone, but you just go like that, and you give it a second, and you have 1 level of pain removed if you have one, and then you're going to immediately heal 1 health level right then and there, but that's kind of where it stops.
Okay, so I had 2.
It's
health
a
levels
nano-surgical stabilizing agent.
Yeah, so I'll have to heal up the rest of my damage later. But
Yeah. You've been... how many health levels were you down again?
2,
Okay. Yeah, so you get 1 that kind of gets pushed back.
which is good. I mean, that makes it so that I don't have any penalties anymore.
Yeah.
And after,
I mean, your
after
face
all of that-
hurts, right? It's an ache, but it's not that atrocious like pain that you were dealing with a moment ago. And then you can just take some regular stuff because they do have ibuprofen and Tylenol. Those things are no one die.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be pounding those like it's going out of style.
Yeah. Just take a few
Keep in mind that I
painkillers
also
and you
picked
should
up
be good.
3 new, 4 new abilities after being smashed in the face. I got Thick Skull, Hard to Kill, Scrapper, and Shake It Off. I have 5 natural armor all through my body now.
Those nanosurgeons did a number on you.
Yeah.
They're like, while we're in here, we're just gonna make a few upgrades.
Yeah.
And
Well-
you're going down the path of Barrack.
To
Do you
to
really
answer
need
your,
all that?
Oh, you've not been with us long enough, my friend.
It
So-
gets quite deadly.
yeah, to answer your question, Danny, about whether or not he can actually ward it or anything else, when he gets Silva situated,
Or
he kind of
can
takes
Danny
you to the
ward it
side.
together with him.
Yeah, well, it just kind of raises, like, I don't know the space very well, and we're going to have to find out exactly if there's anything that we can anchor some of this to. But it's possible, but it's going to take time and materials, most of which I don't really have presently.
Yeah, man, just tell me what you need. I think my dad's pretty keen on making sure that nobody gets in here who's not supposed to be here, and nobody can find us. That makes it a little easier. Because I hope he doesn't have a third safe house.
I don't know what safe house is.
Yeah. Just let me know what I can do.
He just nods his head. It's like, for now, why don't you just rest a little bit? You've already been through some pretty interesting circumstances. I saw what had happened with your vehicle. It looked like it was about ready to fall out of the air. You're sure you're all right?
Yeah, it was kind of terrifying. Hugh got beat up, as you can see, but I remembered to, click it or ticket, so.
I did too, Hugh says from the corner.
Yeah. He just nods his head. It's like, I don't fully understand, but I'm glad that you're all right. I'll look and see what this might require if we are looking to abjurate ourselves out of sight. He just puts a hand on your shoulder. Meantime, keep practicing what you know.
Right, fireballs and lightning traps. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, once everybody is mostly situated, because there was some unpacking that had to happen, Tiberius ends up calling everyone into the main dining area. Silva is going to be sort of quasi-absent. She's just kind of in her room, just allowing things to sort of pass over since you guys have stopped moving. Vix will be helping with that, and Brenner will be with the rest of the group, and Tiberius just puts a slate on the center of the table after pulling up to be some kind of holographic display of the general area and the rest of it. Doesn't seem to be that he has much of a plan just yet, but he's leaning on the table at this point. He's just looking at everyone. He's like, this is beginning to get very much out of hand. It's one thing to find myself in my own apartment complex under fire. It's another to be on the road, so to speak, and have everything that we've been using start to turn against us there as well. I suspect that we are probably being targeted by some form of hacker group or something, which means that not even here is necessarily safe, since they had at least a semblance of telemetry on the vehicle which was sabotaged. We didn't have much choice but to continue and complete, so it might be that this place is also compromised. I need those of you who have experience in these matters, kind of looking over at Tony and Hugh, to start offering up some kind of ideas as to what we can do to correct this, or who we can go to, or how we can manage this, because it's becoming quite clear to me that I can't protect my own family, myself or my wife, let alone my son, so I need ideas.
I think we should just find out who's involved and take care of them.
He's like, I'm fine with that, but
plan.
He's like, and how do you suggest we do that, or how do we accomplish locating or finding them?
It's not my expertise.
And he's just sort of like, then he looks to everyone else.
Just to be clear, we're talking about the 86 Dread Kings or the.
We're talking about whoever the heck hacked you guys. He doesn't know that it's 86 Dread Kings that did both. He just is saying, we're under attack. We need to find out who knows how to do that.
Yeah, because they got into the turrets and everything. Like,
yeah.
That's...
He's like, it's clear to me that they have to have some semblance of skill. They're in the link, and they're able to compromise public property, both in the apartment complex and transit. This means that they either have a high level of skill or there's a large group of them.
Hugh's going to bring up is like, well, considering the attack happened at the same time as the Dread Kings, they're either working with them or part of their group. Or somehow knew that they were going to attack us and took advantage. That's the three options.
Fair enough.
Right, but Hugh, given your connection to so many people, don't you have anybody you can talk to? Any connection?
I already have information on the 86 Dread Kings.
Okay, got a boatload of that. Who fits the profile?
Hey,
Look.
It sprinkles gelato, clearly.
it sprinkles gelato. My God. Sprinkles gelato. They betrayed the family.
It took me a minute to realize what you guys were referencing. I got it though. God dang it.
To understand those inside jokes, check out our Discord.
It looks like he's flipping through his pages right now, and it looks like a person of interest might be an associate of Zeke, who we had who had attacked us. His name is Tim Twitch. He's a hacker and tech expert specializing in breaching security systems and disabling alarms or cameras. He might have the skill set that would work with this.
It's like, yeah, Tiberius,
Yeah.
like, that's a pretty good start, Hugh. Do you have a bead as to where this man might be?
Well, let me find out. And now he's going to do an investigation.
Okay.
He only found this information first. Now,
Okay.
Dad, is
now he's
there
got some-
stuff here like to get into the link and all that? Do we have like data pads on?
You have basic terminals and
that.
access points,
think
nothing that would be
yeah.
sophisticated enough for any kind of like brain deep type investigation.
Hugh, do you go brain deep?
Oh no, that's bad for your health.
That sounds gross. There was this guy at school whose cousin did, and then like he did not ever come out of it. It was the weirdest thing.
Hmm.
You ever
I
go
find
brain
tech
deep?
very
You saw
fascinating.
Tony mention or like make a noise. He's like, you ever go brain deep?
I don't mess with tech. I'm not much of a techie. I have my security tech. That's about as far as I go.
Well, let me introduce you to Malcolm. He also hates technology.
A couple of Luddites, you guys.
And then Malcolm just kind of looks at you like, you know, I was happy in the forest.
The forest sounds a nice place. I haven't seen one. Ever.
Oh, fantastic! I'd give you a tour, but you know this. And then he looks at Danny. This nonsense.
Barnaby
I
is
like
just
it.
Tony Chuck.
yeah. What was the roll for your investigation there, Hugh?
I was getting to it. I was writing my notes first. Okay.
Dracula didn't loving it. Perfect.
My investigation score, which is 11.
11. Every time.
Every time.
11 is the magic number.
Okay. Not finding a lot.
Yeah, you rolled a 1. Are you gonna use any luck
Yeah.
at all, or?
Nope. I'll just let that pass. And it's like,
11.
hey, he must have been protecting himself on the from my channels. Hey, Danny, I've seen you working on the web. Why don't you take a stab at it?
I mean, it's like for school stuff. I'm vamping for time while I open up Excel. I mean, I could try and look this guy up.
What are we doing?
Spreadsheets
I was
showing
spacing
up
out
on
again. I was thinking about wolves running in the forest. What
Wolves?
would
We
look
met
like.
a weird wolf person in
Oh,
the
she was
forest.
sexy.
Yeah, you kind of took a shine to her there, Hugh.
Well, yeah, I
No,
don't
she
know
took a
if he
shine to me.
I don't know if he took a shine to her, but she was very fond of Mr. Hughes. Rather, I don't want to say animal magnetism.
She was a bit much for me. Danny's like blushing a bit because
What's your
believe she
what's your
was- that was-
what's your overall technical aptitudes, Danny? Like as far as your technological standing?
My tech is only a 4, but my investigation is an 8.
Okay, but nothing overtly technical as far as skills are concerned, huh?
No.
Okay.
Basic tech, I have 1 rank in. He just has a naturally like high intelligence, so that ends up boosting those scores.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'll do
while you
my
guys are having a
investigation.
discussion about where to find
I have
Tim Twitch,
14 investigation.
yeah, I mean, you start looking around. He's got a zone of operation. He's going to be much further north than where you guys are now physically, because the 86 Dread Kings are the obviously what you do find is a lot of his rap sheet, a lot of the the flash feeds and anything else that kind of come into it's a matter of trying to get past what's surface level into the rest of it.
Danny's able to find that surface level probably.
Yeah. The problem is going deeper than that requires a little bit more tact or skill or connection at this point. Regardless, there is a bit of a rumbling as the hollow basically the hollow representation of what you've got in the section of Night City that you're in is interrupted, and there is what looks to be it's a circle with a voice wave modulator. It just has the waves in it, but it just pops open and just says, "Sir, I regret to inform you that we've been compromised. I don't know how or when, but systems have suffered a minor defect. We are attempting to correct it now." And Tiberius just kind of looks up and is like, "I knew it. Does that mean that we're going to have to expect some kind of company?" And it goes a little staticky for a second. It's like, "I do believe that we are going to be expecting someone with hostile intent."
Malcolm's just kind of chuckling, going, "Hey, Tiberius, welcome." Now I think you're beginning to understand.
Dad, you might want to go find a place to hide.
Hey, he actually gives you this look like, "Are you serious right now?" Like, it's not an expression like he's mad. It's just like, when did things flip? Like,
Malcolm kind of smiles, kind of goes, "Well, I mean, the boy can handle himself, and in a fairly impressive manner."
You guys
Barnaby,
heard that, right?
Barnaby's like actually he's just doing this whole thing where he's standing next to Danny and listening to all of this, and he had a half face palm whenever the warning had come up, and he's like, "First of all, Tiberius, when did you get the VI? And second," he just kind of holds this like, "I don't want to get into it. Apparently my son has turned mercenary. I wasn't aware of that." And I was like,
I'm
"But
not
regardless,"
paid.
he's just so like, "Yeah, well, it's more the attitude than anything else. More to the point, Barnaby." Barnaby nods. "I need you to make sure that he's safe. Don't keep him in the front. If he's able to help, fine. I'm going to find myself my own way of assisting with the problem. The grounds have got a small security system in place. Nothing that's going to be terribly lethal, but it probably will slow some things down. A lot of the gates and doors from down below are capable of being shielded, but from the last place that you were at and some of the damage reports that I received from that tells me that if it's bad enough, I don't think that's really going to slow them down for long."
The last place was destroyed by the clerics, so unless they followed us here, this must be someone else.
If you want to call NCS, that could help. I'm just saying.
I mean, he shakes his head. It's like, "Actually, may not necessarily be the best idea right now is bringing in any kind of security, because I'm going to have to explain some of the territory and property that I have here, and it's not zoned correctly, and there's a few other problems that go along with it. This is supposed to be mostly off-grid. This is the problem with doing things like this."
It's just, Malcolm's just like, aye, that's all good, but, I'm more concerned about, he kind of looks at the pad, just taps on it and says, "Hello, voice in the machine. When are they going to get here?"
It responds like, "I apologize, but I actually don't have an exact time. My estimation, through probability, tells me that within the last 30 minutes, there was a compromised file that may have given away locations. It would appear that this had been done through some sort of invasive application where the incursion was very discreet. I only recently detected it because of a behavioral change in a lot of the programmatic data. Now..."
"Oh, well, that's fantastic. Less talky, let's get out."
Tiberius is like, well, I don't want to be caught out on the streets. Taking vehicles is going to be insanely dangerous, and fortifying this position seems like the best thing we can manage.
But rooftop?
He's like, he shakes his head. It's like, not from here. If there's any kind of long-range weaponry at work, that's going to leave us more exposed. We have this floor, which means that we're going to be cut off from any particular escape if they come through from the bottom. And my guess is that if they're going to be intelligent, they'll come at it from both sides.
Tony Baloney, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, that's what I would do.
I like that he wasn't even phased by the bologna remark. He was like, I like bologna.
There was bologna in his fridge. I remember details.
Yeah, I eat bologna all the time.
So Malcolm's
Bologna
going to do
and a
a
beer.
11 tactics roll to assess
So
the
that-
defense. So Malcolm's doing a 11 tactics to assess the best way to defend.
Yeah, so you're going to have to go through it, and you have a clock at this point, which is apparently ticking down, and you don't know who your enemies are going to be, or if you'll have any kind of information about them by the time they arrive.
I will, can I aid him with the security roll of some sort?
Do you have tactics? And you can also do a basic security check, yes.
I have basic security. Where's tactics at? I probably do. No, I don't have tactics. But I can rig demolitions. Do we get bombs?
No, we don't have
I'm ready to
bombs.
blow stuff up.
I like it. Tony's like, let's do it. C4.
Mm-hmm.
It's compromised.
I
Let's
wouldn't
go.
advise explosive material in an enclosed space. That's generally a really bad idea.
I've always survived.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, you can do a basic security roll. Is that a D10? Or how do I roll?
So the way that
Exactly,
you
I've
make
done
your
a roll
rolls is
before.
you roll a d10, and you add that to the total of your skill that I'm asking you to make. That's a basic check.
Okay.
So
Just roll
if-
one D10.
1d10 plus whatever your basic security score is.
Alright. That would be an 18. I don't know what this check is.
It's more or less at this point trying to assess where the strongest or weakest points in the whole building is. Now the elevator is going to be a point of entry and exit, which means that you're going to want to have that isolated as best as possible. There is a stairway that is next to it, which allows entry as well. But if you stop the elevator, you can do it from, if you push the elevator into like the second floor, it doesn't have access top or bottom, and it doesn't give them an overwhelming advantage, especially if it's fully deactivated, which that can be done, like electronically from within the building.
Can I go in the elevator and pull the red button that says it's in service? It can't be used.
Yeah, I mean, if you push it down to the second floor and then you just basically hit it to where it's at emergency stop, it won't go anywhere.
I mean, elevators have like that red button. You just pull it out and it
Yeah.
stops the elevator. It can't go nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Just do that.
Yeah, you
Sounds
push it
good.
down to the second floor and do that.
Yep.
Like I said, the stairway would be another point of entry that would be of note. There aren't a terrible lot of windows that are exposed into the center part of the building. Most of all of the personal rooms have windows that look out. They look like they have been reinforced in some capacity with multi-paned, with some kind of multi-pane glass, which is not normal for structures like this out where it is. But it was precautionary, obviously, because Tiberius is a very paranoid individual, as it turns out.
Oh, it's a good thing he is.
It's true.
Yeah, so he's got that point figured out, and then as far as the lower levels, it's a veritable maze on the second floor, full of all the different parts and other, piles and crates and the rest of that stuff. So that's a good place to actually get any group or number of people to get lost or confused or to disorient any particular enemy force. But that'll be hard to pull off, because going straight to the third floor, if they have any intel about the place, is where they would probably likely start if they're not going to go floor by floor by floor. And they're going to be coming down. So like I said, the estimation, or at least the assumption, is that they're going to do some kind of pincer move by trying to come in through the top and through the bottom. So
Horn formation.
I say we trap the second floor. with smoke bombs and grease fire.
Wow.
Have you got that available?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, grease fire's in my back pocket right here.
Well,
Where's
we
our
got a
grease
kitchen,
fires?
don't we?
Come on.
Yeah, we got cooking oil, water.
Well, you could actually do something extremely basic, which is literally pour a bunch of oil down the stairway, making them frictionless. It's a little Home Alone, but
Oh my
honestly,
gosh,
it'll work like
Home
crazy.
Yes.
Yes.
That's for extra.
Because it's all concrete. So you hit the platforms in between, and that's just pure polished concrete. Trying to get up that stuff, especially in combat gear, they'll just be going skip like that. It'll be a huge problem unless they've got other means to get around
Only
it.
if you had somebody who could levitate to. Oh.
I'd like to make a Home Alone roll. That's awesome. Yes. Danny is in favor of
Great idea.
shenanigans.
Right. So you guys will start laying down some very basic, simple type, slow down type methods from second floor to third. And then as far as the entryway from third floor down comes through the same stairwell.
Like we could actually use like bags of flour if there's some in the kitchen and just flour everybody.
Danny's
don't follow. What
gonna
do you-
try and see if he can, if he's got the time, work on some lightning runes
Okay.
to be.
If you want to make an occult
like,
roll, go for it.
Kaboom. Yeah, occult. Okay. He's going 9-9. All right, occult. 19 occult.
Okay, so you'll be able to kind of manifest it a few times. Just make me one evocation check with a. It's going to be standard target, and we'll just see how many successes you get, and that'll be the number of times you're able to pull that off. Just in terms of practice.
Oh, good God! You.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Ah, 2 sploders, man. Nice.
Okay. Well, 2 successes.
That is not bad. All right, so you managed to actually kind of get yourself into it, and not too bad, all things considered.
Dang.
Okay. What sort
I
of
guess that's
weaponry?
one success that went twice, right? So.
Yeah.
So he went loose style and like whipped out some post-it notes and like did his lightning rune stuff on him. So he's got
So-
that going.
The most secure area right now in terms of just raw defensibility would happen to be the control center, 3rd floor, far end of it. No windows in, all sealed in a concrete walled system with a larger reinforced doorway. And again, still can't be helped that you're sitting there going like, how does he have... What, like, how long was this thing just sitting here like this? You know, kind of makes you wonder a lot of things. But either way, that is where Tiberius is going to have himself hold up. He recommends that Barnaby and yourself find your way to it, while the larger of the Brute Squad has a, easy access and free roaming ability from the rest of the 3rd floor.
So is so we're basically.
I'm
making
sorry,
it-
guys, but I can't help but think: what if we trap him in that super secure room and then light off a bomb in it?
You mean like damage the only thing that the entire group would need to watch the cameras and all the rest of that stuff and make it insanely difficult to manage later on?
That does make sense. I'm just trying to think of ways to,
Not to mention the fact that the command center is not
Destroy everything.
you'd have to lead them to it, and they'd have to get caught in there, which would be super dangerous and problematic.
Yeah, no problem. Danny's ready with some sparkle fingers. He's gonna lightning bolt when he gets a chance.
Okay.
You got the
my plans
kitchen
usually
oil.
always work. Eventually.
60% of the time works 100% of the time.
That's sex panther.
Exactly.
All right.
So our current he was listening to everyone talk. It's like, so our current plan is disabling the entry from the elevator, making it so the only way they can enter from below us is the stairway, which Tony is oiling right now.
Has oiled, yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess we have to make sure that people coming from the roof.
It is also not an open stairway, which means that there's no open column going down the center. You can't just go it's like you couldn't just jump from bottom to top. It's all sealed.
Yeah.
That's where the elevator's at, right?
It's next to the elevator, yeah.
So the only way they can get in here is either coming up the slippery slope.
It's not the only way. If you want to roll a tactics roll, you can.
Well, I mean, that's what he's pointing out, but I guess I'll do a tactics roll too.
11. There's so much of that going on.
There's so much what?
Just seeing the 11 and all that stuff in there with 11 and...
Let's see, tactics. I got 13 on tactics. 22 on tactics.
Wow.
Nice.
Impressive.
Okay. There is one other area that is not covered, even with the multi-pane glass. The right kinds of people could definitely make some very fast use of those entry points. Windows are always a weak point. And they may go into various rooms, but if somebody were intelligent enough, they would avoid the stairwell and standard entry points anyway. But having it covered is just a necessity.
You're good, Game Cat. You're good.
I just don't want to make sure there was no background noise still.
Yeah.
No.
What Hugh is going to point this out to the group is like, well, those windows, people could just bust through those, right? How do we stop that? How do we protect from that?
Tiberius is like, I don't know that they can necessarily break through it unless they bring themselves with a lot of gear. What sort of force are we expecting here? And the VI from the back room, whose name he hasn't given out yet, responds from the slate, which he's got shoved into it because him, Barnaby, and Danny are all towards the command center area. That's where everybody's going to be coming back once we've kind of assessed the situation. But the VI in the background's like, I would imagine that they're going to have a fair amount of equipment that's going to be with them. They were able to fool me into an utter discretionary incursion. This means that they were dealing with a certain significance of skill. I would anticipate that the windows are going to be a weak point they might try to exploit. I don't know how, say for maybe with shape charges or other means, but it is possible. Just keep your ears open, I guess.
Do we have any marbles?
I think he went to bed already.
Or jacks.
I guess you'll have to catch that one on stream later.
Yeah.
I'll tell him. Yeah, so we're like on the second, third floor. Like,
You're on the third
chance
floor.
of them hitting windows on the third floor.
Depends on how they deploy. If
Get
they're
on
going to
a
be
roof,
coming
you
up
can
from the
just
roof,
hell in.
or if they go from the ground and go
guess.
up to the roof, yeah, there's entry points that are possible that way.
I mean, this is all Danny talking, right? He's like,
Yeah.
every time people come at us, like Hugh said, it's been overwhelming.
And at that point, Barnaby just kind of does his own check, racks a round into his pistol once he's made sure that there was no problems with it, and he's just like, either way, let's just expect a shitstorm. It's the same way every time at this point.
Yeah.
Hugh says, I'll go by this window and I'm holding my bat. Anyone comes through, I'm going to say hi.
You and that bat, man.
I have a
Well.
question.
Yes.
Danny, can you make things appear or disappear?
I don't know that
Not
Danny's magical
physically,
ability is well known to you yet.
Yeah. But I'll
levitate?
say, metagaming, Danny has not done any illusions of anything.
I thought he levitated something or other.
I am versed in like force pushing and pulling, you know, but I haven't.
I'm not sure I understand.
I haven't like made illusory stuff. And my watch is like listening to it.
Someone's
I haven't
not
made
sure they
any
understand.
illusory stuff.
All right. So, either way, when Barnaby is doing that and he's running through his PCI, which everybody will do here in just a second, he's like, "All right, Tony, I want you to actually back Hugh up. Anybody gets past his bat, or if you hear somebody else coming in from one of those windows, I want you to fill it, and I want you to take him out.
Oh yeah, I can fill a window.
Hey,
He's just like,
Brenner, do you have any ideas? Can you potentially maybe trap the windows?
he's like, I will be focused on making sure that Silva is not overtaken like she was last time, and guarding her from there. I can probably reinforce them to some degree.
Silva's kind of a priority, but yeah, I understand. I can your meaning.
He just nods his head and puts his hand on your shoulder. He's like, either way, if they come into her room, it'll be a terrible mistake.
Oh, of that I have no doubt. And he just kind of draws his sword, gets his dirk and shield, and is kind of rolling his shoulders. Hey,
You get another window.
Right.
he actually pops a blood pill in anticipation of the blood that's gonna happen.
He's got little blood Tic Tacs.
So Barnaby pushes Tiberius and Danny into the control room. He basically makes it perfectly clear. He's like, Tiberius, who ends up there's an actual shotgun in the command center here where Tiberius loads it up and gets it ready, and he's like, obviously I'm going to want to have you stay in here, and if it's not us, you're just going to have to put a hole through it. Danny and myself will stay at this point, guarding the front, making sure that we can support the rest of them. And I'll be making certain that Danny doesn't get his head blown off in the process, but he can do things that'll help things out in the meantime. Obviously, don't panic. Like that, he just kind of looks at him, goes up and is like, all right, come on. And he pulls you, Danny, over to where the door is. And he's like, I want you to stand right here and keep your eye just like this. He's never done this before, despite the fact that you guys are usually in a situation. He's just sort of like, I want you to think about it like this. Whenever you're standing inside of a doorway, it's called a death funnel. You want to stay the hell out of it. If you're here now, anybody who comes in has to pass through the death funnel. It's called a bottleneck for a reason. It condenses numbers, makes it possible to see all your corners, but if they're trained, they're going to start looking from one direction and panning around. It's called slicing the pie. Do the same thing. Start from where you see and slowly put your vision out. Peek little bits at a time. Don't ever put your whole body out at once.
How do you know this?
Well, he just has his pistol in his hand. He's like, former military.
Danny just got his first chest hair. It's just like, ping.
Yeah, and he's sort of like, you follow my lead, you keep your head down, and you don't do anything stupid. You understand?
Yeah, and I got these, and he's got a pair of his lightning traps.
And he's like, all right, I don't know what they do, but you just tell me how they work when they need to be worked.
Lightning bolts. They should stun anybody that comes through here.
I like the sound of that. He gets down onto like one knee, and he kind of like peeks around the corner. He's like, now we have to wait. Let's just be patient. All right, so everybody gets up into their relative positions. Where do they come up from first? Okay.
This is the first time we've been like super prepared for someone to attack. We're almost always like reacting to like a sudden explosion or. Hugh actually was gonna say this. He was like, "No, this is the first time I feel like we've actually been ready for an attack."
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah, you guys are acting, not reacting.
Well, that's
It's
why
because Tony's here now.
Yeah. Money well spent.
All right, just before, so Tony, you're going to be sort of out in the center point. You're kind of going to be the whole idea is to draw fire. You're the big hulking dude in the room, so they're going to see you as a target. And if they're focused on you, they won't look to other points in the actual room.
He's gonna be a focal point.
Right, and remember, these rooms are individual, right? So where all the windows are and how they are all set up across the, around the outside edge of the building here, they're all independent rooms. The doors are all open, of course, but, Hugh will be standing down by one of them towards the end of the hallway there. You'll be sort of in the main common area. That's going to be the kitchen and all the other areas, all the other parts of it that are going to be exposed. There are some windows that are available within the common area, which means that is going to be the highest level of possible exposure and entry if they decide that the other rooms are not going to work. So, again, kind of putting yourself sort of as meat shield, literally, in that sense. Brenner will have the one room
Tony,
with Silva. Yeah, Brenner will have the one room with Silva and Vix. he'll be in there guarding them with the door closed, making certain that any entry point will have to be pushed through, and he'll be able to reinforce what he's doing from there, and protecting all three of them at once. Then, of course, we've got Danny, Barnaby, and Tiberius all standing in the command center area. And that is where Malcolm is offering support in the common area as well. I think that's got everybody's positions relative to where they are supposed to be. Okay. When you start to hear things from the roof, that's when you know that that's how they're going to try and come in first. Combat sense awareness, people.
Want us to roll combat awareness or combat sense?
Combat sense, yes. Yeah.
11.
12.
21.
No shock.
16.
17 for Danny.
Is your combat sense not super high, Yinka?
No, I rolled a 2, so.
All right. Barnaby and friends.
I was thinking about the bologna in my fridge and I forgot to wrap it back up. I was getting a little hungry.
Oh, sorry. My actual roll was 14. Here, I forgot that I have what -2 because I'm distractible.
Ah. Either way, that didn't actually change your position.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's how it goes. We start to hear some people on the rooftops. There's moving around. Everything gets real freaking quiet as you're all listening to it because it's audible through a lot of the slabs up top.
Okay, back. Sorry about that.
You're good. So, again, it sounds like there are multiple people. Tiberius, at this point, is whispering out to anybody who can hear, and he's like, cameras are picking up at least 6 individuals who have managed to land on top of the building. I think they came across from a building adjacent. Barnaby just acknowledges it quietly. He's like, let us know where they're going to be coming in, Tiberius. They seem to be just securing it for now. He's like, am I missing something? Barnaby. He just has Barnaby come over. He's like, is that Warble in the camera, or is that something else? And he's just like, oh shit. He comes up to the front part of it where the entry point and right next to where you're at. But he's like, fellas, problem. Some of them have optic camouflage. It's futzing out the cameras.
Uh-oh.
It doesn't take long before you hear some kind of like minor thunks in the wall, because like I said, everybody's kind of being super quiet listening to this. There are thunks in the wall and in the ceiling, and you can hear something like they're kind of starting to come down towards where the windows are located. You hear a light. There's no like boom or anything else like that, but you can actually see a hand in the main living area as it reaches out and puts something onto the window. Some kind of shape charge. And that's from within the common area? That's within the common area. And Hugh, you like turn around and you can see that like that as it goes like clearly they're planning on pushing through the windows at this point.
I mean, the second he sees that, he's gonna, they got explosives on the window, and he's pointing.
Besides your bat, did you have your firearms with you still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'll have the bat in reserve now. I'm gonna have my shotgun at the ready. My sawed-off 12 gauge.
Okay.
So Danny's in a different room, right?
You're in the command center with your father and Barnaby. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can actually still
Just wanna
see it
make
from
sure I
your
don't, like,
vantage
try and
point.
attack
Yeah.
those targets, you know.
Well, what's funny is that you have something that nobody else in this whole group has. You're not much in terms of, a lot of extraordinary sort of improvisational magic, but you have a rather unique opportunity to be able to react to the explosives by using magic to diffuse it in some way or make it inoperable.
Yeah.
Which I will allow you to be able to do that if you'd like, to try and make it
Well, I
do
just was-
something.
Because it's on the other side of the window. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if I could affect.
Yeah.
Was it my turn?
It's not really. We're not in the combat order just yet.
Okay.
I have that, but
If
you guys are
Danny
seeing it.
can see it and say it, he will.
Yeah.
He will try and. My immediate thought was like if I could try and like shake it off the window or something, but I will do my evocation.
Oh god.
Pair crits.
Yeah. So roll 2 more.
Got some exploders.
Oh, they exploded and
Oh yeah,
Or
that's
not,
right.
I mean.
You have two successes. So
Yeah, 2 successes.
what was the desirable effect? Because that's actually good enough to do something for this.
well, as Hugh calls it out, right? Danny's like in his like vantage point there where he's looking down hallways and stuff. So I was gonna try and, if I could, like pop it off the window, as much as he can try and manipulate the window from the other side of it.
Right. Well, and what's funny is that it's interesting that Danny's kind of thinking about the window being a barrier when it's like you can see it. You could probably tweak it directly if you wanted to.
Just pop it off.
Yeah, I mean,
Push
he
it
just wants to pop it off, like
Yeah. All right. So you just got to do this, and you see it go.
because you just snatch like and the repel like those are his.
Yeah.
bread and
You
butter.
just basically what you do is you do a. It's basically a snatch, but the pulling happens outside. It's kind of like it lashes to an invisible point on the other side of the window, and it just pulls the charge right off the window. And you see it going.
Boom.
Well, they'd have to set it off themselves. It wasn't like a timed charge.
Yeah.
You see another one?
Right.
You just pop that one off too.
Well,
Just
it'll be
away.
very, very confusing.
And this is how you create an average encounter. 3 hours later. Pink! Why can't we put the charge on?
Start shooting it.
All right. Well, so in that case, you wait a tense 10 to 15 seconds, and there are massive sounding pops coming in from the other rooms. Because this wasn't the only window that they were trying to make breach on.
Right.
But this window is secured, and they didn't put another one on there. But you hear 2 or 3 more pops coming from rooms down the hallway there. So right in the room that you were guarding, Hugh, is where some of them are going to be popping through. Now, regardless of whatever's going on, Malcolm, you have an advantage on this, so you can move to the hallway in preparation for when these guys start to come in. So it's obviously they're coming in loud at this point. So it's up to you. You can pick the nearest room in the hall that's on the far side of the actual floor.
He's gonna find the closest sound and just basically have a nice little hallway fight.
Okay.
Oh, that Mandalorian hallway fight was sweet.
Oh, don't get me started. I loved everything about that episode.
Hey. Okay.
Go on.
All right. Well, I mean, you've got multiple targets that are starting to come out of those rooms. You were closest to the one that is nearest Hugh, so you can respond in kind.
Okay, so he's gonna activate his warrior instinct,
Yep.
the one SFR, and so he's got one in front of him.
Yeah, they're starting to come out of those rooms, so you've got one target at least.
Give me a second, because that does. Okay, so I need +5 to my 17.
Game Cat, I don't know if you heard this when they were talking about the mechanics, but each round is like 3 seconds, so Malcolm is acting fast.
Okay, so 17 plus 5 is 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he's going to do. So he only has one target in front of him, and that's
Right now, but there's going to be multiple down the hallway. Yeah.
okay. So he's going to do 1 slash, and depending on that result, he will then move down the hallway because he's got 3 more attacks.
Right. Well, in this case, you see one of the armored enemy come out of that hall or come out of that room. There is a billowing amount of smoke that comes towards the top. It's that bluish, god-awful, acrid-looking smoke that kind of hits this. But he comes bursting straight through it. You react quickly. You manage to cut him with that blade. What's the sword?
It's the basket hilt, so he does 16 damage plus the 5 damage. He does 21 damage.
Right.
And he's always attacking weak points.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go into it and you strike this guy as he's coming out. You go for the arm because it's going to be the first thing out as the man's got a weapon at the ready. You cut down really hard. There are multiple sparks that come off from whatever sort of armored suit he's wearing, or armored, like it's the armor that the man is actually carrying. But you feel the impact. It doesn't cleave the arm off like you might be expecting. Instead, he ends up, there's a grunt as the guy takes the impact, and he kind of stumbles off in the doorway because it, obviously it makes him go completely dead. And he was a right, so his trigger hand is utterly just kind of trying to come back to it.
He'll strike down and then flick straight up for the carotid.
Okay.
For a 26.
Right. Again, the blow hits, sending him off to the side and into the hall, sprawling out. I don't believe, this doesn't have any kind of magically enhanced AP, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It's just
it's
a sword.
Less, so it just does withering damage against demonic grunt.
Right, okay. I got you. All right, no problem. And you said it was 26 damage?
It's going to be 16, 5, 21 damage.
21 damage, okay.
21 damage per strike.
Right, so again, you make impact, and like I said, you send him sprawling. He's not getting up from that very quickly. He's kind of pushing himself up because you're smacking him around the hallway, but and it's clear that you're actually hurting the individual wearing this, but he's wearing a full suit of some kind. So he's getting back up. But I do want to make sure that before you send off your next 2 strikes, that you make me just a single dodge, because they're laying out suppressive fire down the hallway. And that same goes for Hugh and for Tony. Because they just basically start to hear this as other doors start to pop open, and they just start blind firing down the hall.
What roll is that?
Dodge.
Huh? Dodge.
It's
yeah.
dodge.
That's what I thought you said.
Dodge roll.
All right. I have my negative put in this, calculated in, right? I think so. Or no, I don't have a negative. I just can't hide my head. 17.
26 dodge.
Okay, 26, 20. Yeah, you have to beat a 19 on your dodge.
Oh, well, I didn't.
Right, so I did not dodge.
Okay. So, Tony, you're not wearing any armor, correct?
Nope. Who needs armor?
And you had a 17, you said?
Yep.
Okay. So, in this case, you end up taking a grand total of 21 points of damage from those rounds. Or, I'm sorry. 14 points, not 21. Because you try to get out of the way and 2 rounds strike you. And then, Hugh, you end up, and you're wearing what kind of armor? Just a Kevlar vest?
I'm wearing my
real quick,
armored,
I subtract that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Current hit point.
Yeah.
I subtract that, and then whatever health states I less, I mark them off, right?
Right. So in other words, you basically calculate how far down 14 points is, and that is the pain level that you're suffering from.
Okay. Do I mark the health state that it's in, or only after they or after it's done?
Well, right
after
now,
it's gone.
you've taken 14 damage, which means that you mark... What's your health levels? They're 5 each, right?
6 each.
6 each? Okay. So, either way, you're still down 2 health levels, which means you're probably at a -1, which means that you're, you're going to be in that... You're going to be in the 3rd health level, probably? No.
Yeah, the first one's
The what?
cleared.
Yeah.
Second one's cleared. Third one is at 4.
Oh, okay. So, you're actually got a -2, not a
Yep.
-1. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I don't know how those minuses work. I didn't know this. Get this part of it.
Yep. Well,
We'll
I mean,
find
we'll
out when
learn
we get
along
to
the
the
way
round.
here. So the
Okay.
health level,
Alright.
level that is less than its max, whatever one that is, that is the current. That's the current pain penalty you're suffering from.
Okay.
So unless a health level is maxed, if you're less than max at any health level, that's the actual pain penalty. Okay. So again, Hugh, you said you were wearing what armor, if any?
I'm
You'd
wearing
be
that
wearing armor?
stuff we got from the market.
Right. What's the
trench
covering
coat.
like? Do you have a helmet? Yes. No.
No
Okay.
helmet, but I've got my torso, legs, arms are covered.
Okay, so it's body, right. So this is where it's going to get interesting. I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. And the armor protection?
Well, I've got my 5 natural armor, but I also have so total on the torso is 29, and all the extremities is 25, and then my head is 5 because of the natural armor.
Right. So you take a grand total of, let's see here, there was 5 of those, it was 35 in all. Yeah, I mean, wow. Well, in this case it was 35 total, but you take 3 of the shots, 3 of the rounds go into your arm, your chest, and a leg. 2 of them manage to hit and graze off the top of your head, which gives you...
Luckily, I have a thick skull, so it's not a crit.
Yeah, it's not a critical, but also more than that, you take 4 points, so they were grazing impacts. But, I mean, you can still feel the blood coming down and the rest of it, but that's 4 points of damage.
Oh, that's
And
much better than I was
insanely lucky.
Have you met
Well,
you?
the armor being as high as it was, including your natural armor on top of it, that is what saved your bacon right there. Plus, they're not using AP rounds. But, I mean, you
So
get
GameCat
behind
has
cover, you're just
natural
kind of like, ugh. What's that?
GameCat has natural armor.
Yeah. I was gonna say I had natural armor of 16. I forgot about that. I thought you were calculating that into it.
No, I didn't remember that you had it. You have to tell me that. Because I don't have your sheet or anything.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
You're good?
Okay, so what does that do then to him?
Nothing.
Plink, plink, plink.
Yeah. So, he
Anything
doesn't
under
have any
16
damage.
basically just gets absorbed.
Yeah, because each one of these rounds is doing like 7 points apiece. So,
So, GameCat, think about how that looks. Because the bullets are still
Alright.
hitting, right?
They're
Yep.
hitting me, but they're just like hitting, and
They're
it's like
mushrooming.
someone's fingers touching my pecs, and then just falling off
Huh.
like a little mushroom.
Yeah. So if Danny can
Okay,
see that,
fair.
he's gonna be like, "Oh, that's way cooler than Malcolm."
And
well,
then you
Malcolm
share-
actually
wait,
Malcolm
Yeah,
dodged
wait,
into
wait,
the room that
wait.
he just like shanked the guy from.
Right, right.
Way, and you just hear some, way cooler than Malcolm, because he can hear.
Yeah.
And he just takes, and he uses 4 SFR to use dancing spirits. And he takes his kilt, and he takes the guy getting up, and throws him down the hallway into the line of fire. So he kind of like strikes and knocks him down, takes the kilt, and then throws him in. And what he's going to do is he's going to follow charge the body as it flies down the hallway for his last 2 attacks.
Make an athletics, please. Because your body right now is what?
10,
Okay.
21 athletics.
Rise from your grave. Sorry. Just saw that. No OCC chat. All right. So you heft the guy up and two-handed just hurl the guy across, down the hallway towards the other people that were just kind of blind firing. Now, what I mean by blind firing is they were just kind of reaching around the corner.
Kilt, not throwing. He's not physically throwing them with his hands because he's got weapons in.
Mm-hmm.
He's using the kilt.
Right, which is not actually. What rank is that again?
It is rank 2, so he can use two.
Ooh.
He can use 2 things of fabric. So he could have used like the nano cord as well.
Right. Well, yeah. If you do that, that means that you're using a 20 strength more or less to hurl this guy down the hallway.
Yes.
20 body. Yeah. So he's like that as he uses both points, and the guy's like that, just goes right down the hall, batters off the wall, and nobody's injured from that, but you hear the guy crash and crunch up against the back hallway, and then you're going to follow that up with another one. Yeah, Wilhelm scream. And then you can take your pick of targets from the left side as you're going down the hallway, because the next room is only a few feet down. So it's not even like you expend all that much movement to get there. So you come around the corner to find a shocked, which looks to be sort of punk-looking guy. He's wearing more close to what's like a roughneck rig, where it's just a jacket coat with the high collar and the rest of that stuff. And he's like in the midst of reloading after having fired down the hallway, and you surprise him as you come in through the doorway.
31 downward strike at the weak points, and then a 25 strike.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to defend against that. So, again, you're just going for the head?
Well, he's going for the weak points. He's going for those joints in the armor.
Right. Well, in this case, it's kind of like fabric. It's kind of hard to know exactly where the weak points are, but his head is completely exposed.
Oh, yeah, then he's most certainly going for the head.
Okay. Well, not a shocker there! As you literally carve his skull like a cantaloupe as it goes off to the side and just kind of like splatters and slides off, and he just twitches off and falling to his right. Falling to your right, I should say. Because you just go...
Okay, so he has a second attack charged. Is there anybody else in the room?
Well, your third attack was actually throwing the dude down the hallway, so that's all of it.
Oh, okay. That's it. Okay.
That's all she wrote.
Okay,
Yep.
let me make that a note in the actual skill itself as constitutes as melee. I think I actually did do that.
Yeah.
I just can't remember where I put it.
You just need an athletics check to actually, like, throw the dude down the hall, but,
Okay, let me actually put that into it. Athletics check to throw.
Well, athletics check to pick him up. I should have had you roll a melee check as well, but honestly, there was nobody down the hallway that you could have hit, but you did smash the dude up. Because you were just reacting. Like I said, they were blind firing from around the corner in the room. They were trying to staying under cover. Now,
Okay.
we've kind of hit at the top of the hour here, and I have the exact initiative order, which means we're probably going to need to hold it. Because it is 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Clink.
We'll have to make sure next week we get here right on time so we can get right to the fight.
Yep.
I want to see Tony rip and tear.
Right?
So we have Barnaby, who's next in line, and then right after that is the enemy. So we'll see how that goes.
And then the PCs, the
What do
players.
you mean? Well, then Danny, then Hugh, then Tony.
Nice.
So, but I've got it here in my little
I
notepad.
wrote it down too. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I spent those points, buddies.
I'm so glad that I upgraded my character last week.
Yeah, well, we're getting a chance to see how effective armor can be, and what natural armor looks like, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't expect.
Yes, I learned
16...
how armor works a little bit.
16 natural armor is insane.
Yeah, werewolves.
really is.
Werewolves are a little psycho. We're gonna have to draw them back a little bit. They're, as Bungie would say, we're gonna have to issue a nerf. It's a little harsh.
We have been exploring that in the other campaign and finding that out. It's very obvious.
Well,
Yeah.
That's why you
to
play.
be honest, I'm also. It's the advantage disadvantage I took that actually are making it like that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so
that's
giant
they're
hits
there
my
for
body
that.
higher.
Yeah.
Oh, you have giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, giant makes the body higher.
That
and I also have
explains
2
it.
ranks of thick skin. So that's
Oh yeah.
4 points of natural armor and
Yeah, see, the advantage of thick skin should probably only offer 1 point of natural armor per rank,
Yeah,
technically.
instead of +2 per.
Yeah. And it should, like I said, there are some balancing things that need to kind of have happen. We still want to keep them there, but there's clearly, like I said, after having werewolves kind of show up in the mix, it's kind of like they're kind of mega hero status even at street level. So I'm like, yeah, we got to calm down some of the stuff that makes it a little too advantageous. Not that I can't come up with something, but I'm thinking about for everyone else who ever gets a chance to play this. You know, it's a good idea to make sure that there's a good balancing point so that overshadowing doesn't happen too hard.
Haha, overshadowing.
It wasn't an intentional dad joke, but there you go.
There you go.
Righto. Yeah, and I'm still, before I wrap this whole thing up, I'm still doing the Babel, I'm going to still be doing a Babel stream at some point where I'm going to do a showcase of the website. I'm going to be learning German.
Jamin?
Yeah, German. Why? Because I couldn't help but think about stabby mind brain, and I want to start cursing people out in German. So...
Nice. Scheiße.
ooh,
That's going to be great.
Scheiße.
That language just sounds so angry. No matter
It
what.
does, yeah. As my grandfather used to call it, it's the cough and spit language. So I'm going to learn some of that. We'll see where it goes. But I appreciate everybody for showing up. And Schrodinger, it's going to be fun to have you on this whole crew to see what sort of maddening craziness we're going to get involved with. So
Right.
I figure next Thursday we should be here. I've managed to rectify all problems, at least as far as I can tell, with only a few possible hiccups to happen again next week, but we'll see how it goes. That said, I hope everyone has a great evening. Take it easy, y'all.